Suriel, number 1.
I will go with a maybe not so controversial pick of Dragon Ball FighterZ.
That's your number 1. I can't.
Okay,
I can't believe that's your number 1.
And I get for Kingdom Hearts.
No, he's correct actually. It's checked out. I've done the math over here.
So here's the thing. Okay,
Oh,
so I know people are gonna typecast me as like, oh, Will, he's the fighting game guy. He is, he likes the fighting game. I am not as excited about that game on a fighting game systems level as much as it is able to say it is also an enormous love letter to Dragon Ball Z, which I haven't really been that much of a fan of, but seeing. Well, no, in recent years, I watched
Kim, I think we're on the same page
hold
now
on,
because this is very strange to read through.
in years, I watched the original. I watched up to the Buu saga. I didn't watch much of GT, but
You're fine.
Yeah,
I loved that series when I was a kid. Really kind of fell off of it, over the years, and they kept making games. But it's like I could come back to it because it's like the same story every time. But like how much they're able to sort of fuse fighting game concepts with Dragon Ball Z and make it supernatural. Just like the idea of, there are lots of fireballs, and when Goku deflects them, they go into the background and destroy the background, which is like a 2D sort of like the same thing they did with Guilty Gear, where all the models are 3D, but they move around in a 2D space.
Yeah.
And just the way, just basic concepts of a throw tech, which is when two players go and throw each other and they kind of just sort of reset. Yeah. In that game, it is, instead of doing that, they just fight for a little while like they would in Dragon Ball Z, where they're throwing all the punches really quickly, and then they break. And like the amount of like, you can tell those Guilty Gear guys, which is Arc System Works, love Dragon Ball Z, or at least they started loving Dragon Ball Z all of a sudden, and they have poured so much love into that game. And even though like it's not like my favorite series of all time, just seeing how good they've nailed the vibe of that series and made a pretty good fighting game. And
in theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are promising things that are like, in Marvel, it's like 3-on-3 fighter, and the rounds are maybe a little bit too long so far, but like,
4
the
minutes,
idea,
right?
one of the, something, well, it's like, average. But like one of the things that in Marvel vs. Capcom happens when you kill one character, there's a little bit of delay, and then the character jumps into the screen. So the thing that, on a competitive level is weird is that the person who just got that kill gets to do whatever they want on the screen, and sort of, it gives them an advantage. Yeah. Here, when you kill one character, there's a cutscene where the other character's like, all right, now I'm going to fight.
And they clash,
and then it starts the round all over again.
Yeah.
And just the number of assists, and they do such a good job of like, here's this weird fighting game combo that also looks like something that would look out of DBZ, and then they end with a ridiculous super. Like, if you do a certain super, it'll just destroy the entire environment and give you something different. Like, the amount of, like, I didn't know that I loved Dragon Ball Z as much as I did after I saw that game. And I am, that game sort of, I am so excited for that game. I can't wait for it.
Do you worry about it having that MVC3 drawback, though, where I love Dragon Ball Z as well, I'm excited for it, but looking at it, it's like, boy, this is really fast. This is going to maybe turn a lot of people off.
I think there is cause for concern there, but I think people are going to be more welcome to it, because I think when they go into Marvel, it's just, I just want to see these characters fight, and I don't really have much of a context of how these characters should fight, so the idea that it's very chaotic is kind of weird to me. But with Dragon Ball Z, you expect lasers everywhere, just like, especially when it's 3-on-3.
Key blasts, please.
Key blasts, yeah. And the idea that just things are exploding everywhere, there's a bunch of lights and sounds, and people are just beating each other up for, you don't know how it's happening. I think people are going to be like more receptive to that than they would be with Marvel vs. Capcom.
If I may play the hipster, and I think Kyle will be with me on the hipster front here. Yeah. Hey, Arc Systems just made a 3DS fighting game, which is basically this exact same game.
Who?
Arc Systems.
Oh.
Extreme Budoden.
What
it
console?
Was this exact 3DS. It was also 3-on-3, and it was solid. We played the demo a fair amount. Yeah. And it's like it barely was on the radar. And now it's like the fact that it's on consoles, I agree, it looks great and that's exciting, but it's like, where's all the enthusiasm? It's like, it was the same team making this exact game.
I guess, there's some truth there, but I think it had leaked online and people were kind of like, oh, this looks pretty cool. But I think part of it was like, they put this game on the main stage.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Phil Spencer had to look at the Dragon Ball Z game and go, yeah, let's do it. Let's put Goku on the big screen. I love the big guy.
I love that no one actually said the title of the game.
It was hard, like
Dragon Ball
there
Fighters.
were so many spellings of that game of just like Dragon Ball Fighters, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like they did not do a great job.
My favorite thing was we were on our messaging system trying to figure out what the title was. I was like, Hanson, did you catch the title of that game? And what you did, which just made me laugh out loud, was you just posted the logo that you had screen capped in our chat system and said good luck. And I was like, I don't know what this game is called, but damn,
I think it's Dragon Ball
nice.
FighterZ, but like it's one word with the inner cap C. It's real.
I love Majin Buu turning Goku into a cookie.
Oh,
That's
yes,
one of his moves.
absolutely.
It's pretty good.
But yeah,
it looks great.
I'm super excited for that.
It's nice because I've reviewed a lot of Dragon Ball Z games, and they always look okay. But then you look at like the Naruto games, which just look phenomenal, and I'm like, why can't we get Dragon Ball closer to this? And I feel like we are now. Like this is the best looking Dragon Ball game, and it's crazy that it was on Microsoft Stage.